Hey guys, what's up? Genesis here with the Peas in a Pod. So, let's talk about what to say and how to act when the conversation comes to be about the LGBT community or homosexuality and the like as a whole. So today I'm going to talk about important terms, important events, how different states approach this topic as of now, and also questions and topics you can bring up during conversation. And if you're not careful about what you say, it can really set off bombs or triggers. For example, one of my friends on Facebook last week was like, "If you don't agree with my views on this topic, this discussion is over! Over! It is not up for discussion." So I don't think we should shut down discussions just because we don't agree with each other. My friend also is not British. But the main point is that this topic is really sensitive, really volatile. So let's cover some things that I think you should know in order to get the most out of this type of conversation, to learn the most from this conversation, and also for you not to come off like you're insensitive and ruin your relationships, but on the opposite hand, even grow and deepen your relationships. So stay tuned to Peas in a Pod. Genesis here, discussing sensitive topics. The first is heterosexual. This means that you like people of the opposite sex, of the opposite gender. I'm a heterosexual man because I like women. Another word for heterosexual is straight. So, I'm a straight man, my girlfriend is a straight woman. We straight, Now the other word is homosexual. This means that you like people of the same gender, of the same sex. This is kind of the basic way of understanding this dichotomy, of this divide. But many people nowadays, especially proponents or people who support the LGBT community, would tell you that the differences are much more subtle, are much more nuanced. There are more details, it's more refined. So there's really many different words for homosexual. We've got gay, we've got queer, we've even got the phrase same-sex loving. Okay, and even in those words, gay usually refer to men who like men, while lesbian refers to women who like women. Then you've also got the word bisexual, which means that you're a person who likes all genders, all sexes. If I happen to like men and women, I would be bisexual. But then since I don't, does that make me monosexual? Oh, that's kind of a language geek, language nerd joke, because bi means two, mono means one. I only like one sex instead of two, so am I monosexual? Then you've also got transgender or trans, which are those people who used to be one. Whoa! My backdrop fell. These are basically people who had surgery or operation to transition from one gender into another. If I used to be a beautiful, cute, pretty princess of a girl called Janiqua, then I got surgery to transition into the now handsome, charming, seductive, sexy, delicious, luscious Prince Charming of a man you now know as Genesis. I would be transgender.
That's too much, man!
And in a sense, gender theory has developed a lot to become like a philosophy. You've also got words like fluid, which means that people don't want to define themselves to a certain definition of gender. They like to keep things open, right? They like to keep things open to interpretation, like fluid water. Now I'd like to cover 3 important events for the LGBT community in America. The first is from 2004 to 2015. It was established that each state could decide individually whether they were going to let members of the LGBT community marry each other. So, for example, it's up for California or Hawaii or Georgia or whatever to decide by themselves whether same-sex marriage would be legal. So in 2004, there was only one state that legalized same-sex marriage. But by 2015, 37 out of 50 states had legalized same-sex marriage. But on June 26, 2015, an even bigger event happened, and this is that Supreme Court now legalizes same-sex marriage in all 50 states in America.
A lot of breaking news here this morning. The breaking story just moments ago, the Supreme Court and this landmark ruling, the court making same-sex marriage legal in this country across every state in this nation.
But on June 4 of this year, 2018, another radical event happened. Jack Phillips is a Christian baker that refused to make a wedding cake for a gay couple. So of course, these two gay men who are about to get married are really angry and hurt that this man publicly refused to make their wedding cake. And on his side, Jack Phillips was like, I am an artist with my own religious values. I have the right, or he feels like he has the right, to refuse service to people that he doesn't agree with. And so they went to court several times until it finally reached the highest court of America, the Supreme Court. And just this month, the Supreme Court basically said, look, it's okay for Jack Phillips to deny these two gay men service. On a larger cultural scale, this ruling shows that Supreme Court as of now will support business owners and or artists who want to stick to their own values and thus refuse service to, per se, members of the LGBT community. Okay, so now I'd like to close off with some topics and questions you can bring up during conversation. So first, if you're in conversations with people in the LGBT community or allies, right, you can ask them something like, hey, what's the best way that I can understand your gender? Hey, I'm really curious about how you came out. Came out comes from the phrase coming out of the closet. And if you want to discuss things on a more larger cultural level, you can ask them something like, so what do you think is the next chapter for the LGBT community? Alright, so let's move on to the other side of the conversation, the people who would disagree with the LGBT community. You can tell them something like, I want to understand why you disagree with the LGBT community. I want to understand the way you think. Some people feel like their religious or cultural freedom or values are being limited or are being endangered. What do you feel about this? Why do you think this is such a big issue in America? Guys, Genesis here. Thank you so much for tuning in, especially as we talked about this really sensitive topic. I hope you learned some things about how to understand this topic more and also how to approach it, how to talk about it. We here at Peas in a Pod want to help you understand American culture a little bit more deeply so that you can have more fulfilling, meaningful relationships with the people around you. If you have any questions, comments, or even suggestions for future topics, just leave it in our comment box. And as always, I've left some links and stuff in our description. Finally, don't forget, if you like what we're doing, the subscribe button is waiting for you. Thank you guys again. See you later. Much love. Take care.